Hello, this is Political Forum for Wednesday, June 1st. Today we welcome Alderman Howard Brookins Jr. of the 21st Ward. Thank you for appearing on Political Forum, Alderman Brookins.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Elizabeth Granado, a board member at CAN TV. You are watching a live interactive program brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. Be sure to tell your friends that they can also watch this show at cantv.org/hotline. We welcome your questions and comments for Alderman Brookins by calling us at 312-738-1060. During the next 25 minutes, we'll try to get to as many of your calls as possible and get as many of your calls on the air. So, Alderman Brookins, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm currently in my fourth term as Alderman of the City of Chicago. I represent the 21st Ward, which is on the far south side of Chicago. So between 79th on the north and 99th on the south, the Dan Ryan on the east, and I go as far west as Damon.
Okay, and Alderman, you have a map of your ward here. We'll go ahead and show that, along with some of your contact information for your office. So this is the map of the 21st Ward. What neighborhoods do you represent in your ward?
I represent Auburn Gresham, and I represent Washington Heights. Those are the main bulk. There's a slither of Pullman and a slither of Beverly, but not enough to really say that I represent those communities.
Okay, and so your office number is here, as well as the address of your office at 9011 South Ashland Avenue. What is the best way for constituents to get a hold of you?
So, one, they can call me at the office at 881-9300, 773-881-9300. They can see me on Constituent Night if they need to talk to me one-on-one without an appointment, and that's every Tuesday at 4:30. I take people first come, first served basis, and I talk to you as long as you want to talk about whatever the issue is that you have in the community. We host a town hall meeting every fourth Saturday of the month at the Carter G. Woodson Library, located at 95th and Halsted Street at 9:30 a.m. And if you have a block club or if you need an appointment to see me, you can call and invite me out, and I'd be happy to either schedule an appointment where we can meet if those times aren't convenient, or to come to your block club.
Great. And again, you're watching Political Forum, a community service of CAN TV. I'm Elizabeth Granado, a CAN TV board member. This is a live interactive show. Call 312-738-1060 if you have any questions for our guest, Alderman Brookins. And Alderman Brookins, there has been a massive state budget impasse over the past 2 years now. The state legislature just ended their session yesterday and have yet to pass a budget.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that will impact the city of Chicago at large and your ward specifically?
So 2 years without a budget. We represent a large senior community, and we represent people who actually have needs for social service agencies, etc. Without a budget, many of the nonprofits are struggling, don't have enough resources to adequately serve the city at large, and particularly my ward. More importantly, and what we've been looking at, and I'm the new chairman of education in the city of Chicago, is the Chicago Public Schools. And so we have a significant deficit with Chicago Public Schools, nearly $1 billion deficit. No relief in sight from the governor or Springfield as to how we deal with that. And if that comes to fruition without any relief, there may be massive layoffs. But more particularly, schools will suffer about a 20% reduction in the amounts of money that they're currently receiving from the Board of Education that they do now, and that means significant layoffs of teachers. That means larger classroom size. That means a lot of stuff that we really don't want to fathom or continue to guess about what it means. It's very important that we do something with this budget, and I read currently an article in the paper about the governor saying that the rest of the state shouldn't support the city of Chicago with hardworking taxpayers, as though the people in the city of Chicago do not pay taxes. We currently pay about 20% of the taxes throughout the whole state, but we don't get 20% of the income that is generated back. So if the governor wants to play that game, then fine, derive a budget, mandate that all the communities receive a proportionate share of the money that is sent to Springfield back to those communities.
Great. And we do have a caller on the line. Caller?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I have a question concerning education. I have a couple of children who go to CPS schools, and I've already seen some of the effects of the budget, like their arts and music classes have been have gone away, and now they're going to be leaving school for summer quickly. But what's going to happen in the fall? That's another concern is for me and a lot of other parents is what do we foresee? So it's I guess a double-edged question. Number one, is there a way, that we can help get funding for schools so they can help bring back the arts? Number two, what's going to happen in the fall?
So, and I agree. I have two kids in Chicago Public Schools also, and I have that same concern. You can write the governor, you can call the governor, we can create advocacy groups around that. The way we fund education in Illinois is backwards anyway. And at the end, after we get past this one impasse, I would like to see us push for a constitutional change or amendment so that in the way that we fund education to make every kid first and truly leave no kid behind. There are kids with special needs who need significant amount of money. There are some districts and kids who don't need as much, but we need to make sure that all kids have every tool that they need to survive. Currently, the system that we have, we rely on property taxes to support education. And what the state does, for example, if there are poor communities whose property taxes won't meet the amount of money necessary to educate the kid, then the state comes in and provides additional relief. Well, the problem is when the state starts cutting back, they cut back across the board. And what that means is if you have a rich area like Barrington, who may get 6% of the money from the state of Illinois to further buttress the educational needs, and you have a community, for example, Robbins, who may rely on 50% of the money from the state. Well, when you cut it back dollar for dollar, even though there's a 10% cut, a 10% cut of 6% is a lot less in actual dollars than a 10% cut of 50% of the money that you're needing to fund a particular school district. So we have to push our legislators to adequately fund education, to come up with a better plan. Minnesota seems to get it right. I think Ohio seems to get it right. We need to move more towards a different format as to how we actually fund our education. Those are some of the things that we can do, and tell the governor that he's absolutely wrong. It's not a bailout for the city of Chicago. The kids had nothing to do with this. The kids aren't Mike Madigan. They weren't born when Mike Madigan was first elected in the office. They don't vote. They didn't get us into this mess. It is up to us, the adults, to come up with a solution that puts our children first.
That's a great point, Alderman. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about is over the past May, we've had one of the most violent months that we've seen in the last 20 years in the city of Chicago.
And that's unfortunate.
It's very much unfortunate. What can you say to your constituents and some of the residents in the city of Chicago about the uptick in violence and what's happening in their communities right now?
We need to all do our part that we can. And one of the things that we've been doing in the 21st Ward is we have a campaign to kind of know your neighbors, to reach out in the community. We need people like Miss Kravitz from Bewitched to stay in the window, to look and see what's going on, to check your kids, see who they're playing with, see what's going on with them in their lives, see if they're holding a gun, see if they're involved in a gang. Talk to the kids, your nephew, your nieces, the people who are coming over and visiting your kids. Because while you may not be the intended victim of violence, you could be the unintended victim, as we've seen with respect to the city worker who was shot coming out of a Starbucks. So we all have a part to do. We're going to press for more resources from the police department to help try and keep us safe. But we still need every individual working in concert. If you see something, say something. If something's going wrong or something's going amiss, call the police. the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and so we have to build those statistics so that we can justify having additional resources also to the mayor and whoever else. We can't continue on this vein. It's going to start hurting commerce and people who want to come and visit the city of Chicago. We were out of the country and people were talking about the crime that goes on in the city of Chicago. So it can't be great for our tourism. We need to pass a budget to help with programs to keep kids safe and keep kids off the street. We need to pass a budget to help those programs that deal with prevention of violence, like ceasefire and other programs that are great that are out there. And so those are some of the things that we can do.
Great. And we do have another caller on the line.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I wanted to ask the Alderman about something I read recently in terms of Chicago losing population, and people are fleeing essentially en masse at this point, and we may be overtaken by Houston, Texas as the third largest city in the country. And I wanted to, find out from the Alderman sort of what he thinks has caused this great flight and what he thinks we can do legislatively to turn that around and get people coming back to our great city.
So, one, I do think that it is, to a small degree, the violence, but I also think that it's jobs and opportunity. And the biggest mass exodus of people leaving the city of Chicago are unfortunately African Americans. We saw in the last census that we lost nearly 200,000 people. One of the other things is that I tell people all the time that, for example, my grandmother's generation who came from Mississippi would never dream. She didn't even want to go back and visit Mississippi, let alone think about moving back to Mississippi after her retirement. We do have a significant population of people also who are just retiring now, who are a little older than I am, who are considering relocating after their retirement to warmer places and warmer climate like Mississippi and Alabama, etc. We have to continue to bring jobs. We have to make our schools better. We have to continue to make our neighborhoods safe and create good quality housing stock in the city of Chicago. We have to have significant shopping outlets and things for people to do within the neighborhoods. That's one of the things with these opportunity zones that the mayor created to help bring some of those resources in areas that have significantly been struggling to try and get just basic needs, grocery stores, restaurants to sit down and eat in. A lot of these companies have been reluctant to come to certain areas in the city. Certain areas don't even have grocery stores yet. So we have to do, and what we can do is to try and come up with incentives and ways to bring those businesses to the city of Chicago and those neighborhoods. We got to create jobs within those neighborhoods, and then we have to be safe and then have quality schools.
Excellent. And again, you're watching Political Forum, a community service of CAN TV. I'm Elizabeth Granado, a CAN TV board member. This is a live interactive show. Please call 312-738-1060 if you have a question for our guest, Alderman Brookins. And I believe we do have a caller on the air. No.
Okay.
So, Alderman, one of the things you mentioned is that as people are aging in the city, some of them are moving to warmer climates. What can we do for our aging residents, our senior citizens, to provide them the support and the services that they need to stay in the city of Chicago?
So we have made a significant effort to build quality housing for seniors and low-income families within the city of Chicago, or particularly in my ward. We have to continue to do that. They have to feel safe. They have to have the amenities that they need. And it has to be new and fresh there. And I think that that's one of the things that we can continue to do. We have to have things for them also to do. And so, fortunate or unfortunately, a lot of the things are supplemented by the government and by the state of Illinois. And with us cutting back, what does that mean for our zoos? What does that mean for the botanical garden? What does that mean for the forest preserve? The bike trail, the overhead, I think it's the 606, is a great drawing point to a lot of people. We got to continue to create projects like that throughout the city of Chicago and not just concentrate them on downtown and the lakefront and other very popular and trendy neighborhoods. I think that we can do that. I think that the mayor gets it. I think the hire of Andrea Zopp from the Urban League, she gets it, and we're going to make significant strides in that. We have a project going on in the 21st Ward, and they are doing the Carter G. Woodson Library for years. That has been a jewel of the 21st Ward in the South Side. It's a regional library. It hosts the Vivian Harsh collection of African American books and artifacts, etc. And people come from all over the world to view that collection. So this summer, that job has been bid. It has been let out to Jimmy Akatande with Ujamaa Construction. He is a local African American contractor who got his start in the neighborhood at 76 and Stewart. He went on to build several significant projects, the Walmart in my ward to be one. He built a rental car agency out at O'Hare. He's done other significant projects throughout. So we're really excited that next year that library will be befitting of the collection and the things that go on in it. We also have other economic development that is going on in the 21st Ward, like a aerobic digester. It'll be the first aerobic digester of its kind in the city of Chicago. We're excited about that. So we'll be able to take organic waste, take it to the digester. It will turn turn that organic waste into energy. It will turn it into compost and soil. It will create jobs in the community. So those are some of the projects that we're very excited about that are going on. Those are things that we have to continue to do in the city of Chicago if we're going to make the city great, because we're only as great as our weakest neighborhood. And if people view the city of Chicago as being Inglewood or Auburn Gresham or some of the other areas that you hear about high crime and shootings going on, then they won't want to stay here. They won't want to be here.
Certainly. This Mayor Emanuel has done a lot to invest in local parks. He's rehabbed a number of playgrounds throughout the city. Do you think that is a good move to continue to invest in your local parks to make sure that your residents in the city have recreational areas, especially as we get closer to the summer?
I agree with that. And that is a great thing. And what we also need to do is invest in security for those parks, because what we do hear from a lot of parents is that they don't feel comfortable sending their child to the parks. And the Park District has a lot of programs throughout the city of Chicago, and the programs vary from park to park and location to location. So whatever your child's interest is, there is a place for him in a park in the city of Chicago. I send my kids to the parks over the summer, and they have great programs there. But with that said, we have several parks that are very underutilized because of the safety issue, or because the parents don't know what is actually going on within those local parks. They've taken an approach at the parks, use it or lose it. So if they program something and those programs are not going over well, then they will pull those programs out of the parks.
Okay, and can parents in your ward call your office to find out about what programs are going on in their local parks?
They can call our office at 773-881-9300. They can go on the Chicago Park District's website and look at the list of parks. So you may not want to go to a park in your neighborhood. You may want to go to a park that is closer to your kids or to your job, where you can drop your kid off before you go to work and then pick them up easily from work. And so those are some of the great options that are out there.
Great. And again, you're looking here at some information about Alderman Howard Brookins' office. His office is located at 9011 South Ashland. You can reach him via phone or email. And you're watching Political Forum. It's a community service of CAN TV. I'm Elizabeth Granado. I'm a CAN TV board member. This is a live interactive show. Please call 738-1060 if you have any questions for our guest. And Alderman Brookins, Over the past couple years, we've had some challenges in CPS. There have been some schools who have been closed, but also some schools that have really been successes. Can you speak to any of the schools in your ward that have really had some great success stories?
Well, sure. We have several level one, just neighborhood schools in the city, in the 21st Ward and in the city of Chicago. Wendeley Green is one that immediately comes to mind, located off of 96 and Vincennes, a level one school. The principal there is Principal Dale. He does a great job with those kids, etc. We have Kipling School, Rudyard Kipling School, that is in the ward on Low Street, another level one school, and they do an excellent job. We have the only high school that is in the 21st Ward proper that is a regular non-charter school is Simeon. Simeon has a great athletics program, as many people know. They have a great program with respect to electricity and the electrical program at Simeon. Whereas if a kid goes through and gets finishes up and completes that program, IBEW 134 has guaranteed those children or those young adults by then a spot in the union and an apprenticeship program so that they can go on to make significant money and feed their families. Mayor Emanuel has recognized that it is not all kids' path is not the same, and so that you can go to trade school or you can go to college. Commissioner Stanley Moore and I have been working with the president of the Illinois Manufacturing Association also. There's going to be significant growth in that area, whereas many metal fabricators are starting to age out and they really need a younger workforce. And so we're currently going around looking for a location for them to house a program that will be between 16 and 20 weeks. They have guaranteed that the people who pass or get through that program, 95 to 98% of them will find jobs immediately, and that within 5 years they will make $90,000. That is a significant amount of money. That is enough money to feed and raise a family. And so we're excited about those opportunities. You have to seek them. They're out there. We're a resource for you. And I think that is a great thing. The mayor is going to invest a significant amount of money at Daly College on the southwest side, also pushing that to make that college a hub for manufacturing where all of these jobs are slated to grow. But we still have to bring other companies in the city of Chicago, and particularly, as I say, in the neighborhoods.
That's excellent. We have a couple of minutes left on the show. Again, this is a live interactive show. Please call in. You can call in at 312-738-1060 if you have any questions for Alderman Brookins. Alderman Brookins, you talked about some of the schools that are trying to partner with local unions and get more students on a path towards working in the manufacturing industry. Do you think that that will encourage more manufacturing companies to invest in Chicago if they see that we have a well-trained workforce here?
I think so. And the conversations that we have, they want to stay here. They're here already. There's significant jobs in that area. Those jobs, say 30 years or so ago, there were a lot of immigrants who took those jobs and learned that skill set, but now they're at the age of retirement. They're paying significant bonuses to keep them there as opposed to them retiring now. So it is very important that we get a workforce up and ready quickly so that they can move in and take those jobs. And that will make Chicago great. That will make our neighborhoods great, and people to be able to afford the houses.
Excellent. And again, we have some information about Alderman Brookins' office. We've only got about 30 seconds left in the show today. Alderman Brookins, I want to say thank you for appearing on Political Forum, and thank you for calling in tonight. Our telephone technician has been Sylvia. Sylvia, thank you so much tonight. Political Forum is brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. Please join us again at our next Political Forum, which will be on Wednesday, June 8th. And our guest will be Alderman Chris Talaferro of the 29th Ward. Alderman Brookins, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.